Hello students, myself Professor Milindev Naganna, Department of Zoology, JSS Degree College, Gokak, District Belgaum, Karnataka. Students, we have discussed in our previous classes about the classification of the honeybees, then the social organization in the honeybees, the different castes or the members of the division of labor in the honeybees. Then we have discussed about the functions of each members separately, then the nuptial flight, role of pheromones. Then we have also discussed about the different cells in the honey hive, then the life cycle we have discussed in our previous classes. Now, in this class we will discuss or we will study in detail about the methods of beekeeping, okay, the methods of beekeeping. Now, the methods of beekeeping is the scientific method or the process where the honeybees are reared or kept for the production of honey and other useful bee products. So, that is what here the beekeeping is the scientific method of keeping the honeybees. Now, in this method usually the Apis serena or Apis mellifera are the most employed honeybees for the beekeeping. Okay, for the beekeeping. So, the main purpose of beekeeping or the keeping the honeybees, okay, is to get the most best or the quality of honey and its byproducts. Is it clear? Now, usually beekeeping is of two methods. Usually the two types of beekeeping methods are practiced, that is, one is called as the indigenous method, which is also known as the traditional method or the primitive method, and the second one is the modern method. So, the two types of beekeeping methods, that is, the one is the traditional method or it is the indigenous method, which is also called as the primitive type, which is the older type, okay, without having any scientific employment of constructing the hive there. So, the another one is the modern method, another one is modern method. So, we will discuss here one by one. Now, that is the indigenous method or the traditional method, which we call it as the primitive method of beekeeping, is the method of keeping the honeybees for the extraction of honey, is quite very old type and it is unscientific also. It is unscientific also, and here the construction of the hive by the honeybees is very uncertain. It is what? Very uncertain. It is always by chance. Now, in this primitive method or indigenous method, there are again different types are there. The most three important types we will be discussing here in this syllabus, that is the immovable hive or the wall type. Immovable hive or wall type. Another one is the movable type. Movable type. That is then the another one is the bamboo type. Is it clear? Immovable hive or wall type means what? It is the one where the hives cannot be moved from one place to another place once it is constructed. The name itself suggests that is why it is immovable. Then the another one is movable. Once the honeybees construct the hive in a particular structures or the given places, that can be moved from one place to another place, that is the movable hive. Then there is another type of the traditional methods or the primitive methods where the honeybees are made to make a hive in the bamboos, okay, in the bamboos. Now, we will discuss here what is this. Now, immovable hive, in this we will study the wall type of hive, okay, wall type of hive. Now, wall type of hive is usually practiced in many of the villages, okay, from the very long back, okay, from the long back, that is the we call it as the from time immemorial. Is it clear? Now, where it is practiced? It is practiced in a very secluded, okay, secluded and protected places. Secluded means what? Little bit isolated area, that is a place from the away from the residential or the domesticated, and it is protected places. Is it clear? Now, what they do in case of the wall type of hive, that is during the construction of the houses, okay, during the construction of the house, they make a small permanent chambers, okay, in the wall or on the wall, they make a small permanent chambers, okay, permanent chambers. Now, these chambers are in such a way that the outer wall of the house for bees there will be a small slit like opening, Okay. So, this is what the wall hive. So, during the construction of the houses, dwelling houses, what the most of the people they do, they make a small chamber. Okay. They make a chamber in the wall, and it is made in such a way that the outer part of that chamber, okay, is left with a small slit, okay, or a opening. You can see a small slit or a opening. Is it clear? And the inner wall, this is the inner wall. In the inner wall, they make a very large box like. Okay, in this inner wall, they make a very large box like. Now, what they do, what they do this, they open a small slit at the outer wall so that the honeybees enter into the chamber. They enter into the chamber and they make a hive. They make a hive inside the box. Okay, inside the big mouth or the open chamber inside the wall, inner side of the wall. Is it clear? So, you can see in this picture, this is the inner wall, and here you can see this is what the one of the inner wall it is made. It is without any hive right now. But if you see this one, it is already the hive is prepared here. Is it clear? At the inner side, so that the chamber has a large opening at the inner wall, so that it can be easy for removal of the honeys. Okay, or honey hive can be removed. So, that is what the in case of wall type. Now, as it is a wall type, it is a immovable. You cannot, once the hive is constructed, you cannot move it from one place to another place. So, what you should remember here is that it is a very long back, it has been practiced by the villagers. So, it is practiced in the secluded and protected areas. Then whenever they construct a house, at that time only they make a small chamber in the wall. Is it clear? In the wall, in such a way that the outer wall has a very small opening or a slit like structure, whereas the same chamber in inner wall has a very large opening. Okay, so that from the small slit the honeybees enter into the chamber, and inside that they will build a hive. Okay, they will build the hive, and this is large sized inside the wall because it can be easily removed. It can be easily removed at the time of harvesting. Now, the movable type, immovable, wall type, movable. Now, the bee chambers in the movable type are made in the hollow bags, empty wooden boxes, earthen pots, kelps, etc. Now, once if the honey hive is made in these chambers, that is maybe in the earthen pots, maybe in the boxes or in the wooden boxes or bags, etc. This, once the hive is constructed, it can be moved from one place to another places. Okay, for more safer places you can move it. So, that is why these are called, these types are known as the movable type of beekeepings. Now, here this method is also not much satisfactory, that is because the comb is lost during the extraction of the honey. See here, if the honey hives are made in the earthen pots, okay, if the honey hives are made in the earthen pots, now this is the one of the here, that is earthen pot, the hives are made. Now, during the removal of the honey, okay, during the removal of the honey, that is the most of the dust, then the damaged larval tissues, pollen grains, etc. will come up into the honey, and the honey is not much satisfactory. Okay, so this is what the earthen pots are made. There is a one opening here at the pot, so that the honeybees can enter into the hive, and there at the base also they have made one more chamber like, so that they can remove it easily once it is needed to be harvested. Is it clear? So, that is what here. The third one is the bamboo hive. Now, bamboo hives are the pieces of the bamboos, okay, they are hung on the roof of the houses, so that the honeybees come and make a hive in that. Then that is about the honey hives. Now, for all these primitive methods, okay, primitive methods, there is making of hive is completely a matter of chance. Okay, the honeybees make the hives by their choices, not by the beekeepers' choices. Is it clear? So we have to keep those structures and the honeybees come and they make the hive. It is not that we are doing it here. So that's what here it is called as the primitive methods of beekeeping is completely by chance. Okay? And once if it is made, we are not supposed to disturb them until unless we need to harvest it. Is it clear? So for the harvesting of the honey, we need to drive these all honeybees out of that hive by making a smoke, okay, smoke, and then we have to squeeze this honey hives to collect the honey and we store it into the vessels. Now there are the primitive methods has the disadvantages also, okay. Primitive methods has disadvantages. The first, which I told already, that is the making of the hive is completely a matter of chance, okay. And once if the hives are there in your honeybees are there in the hive, it is not easy for us to control it. The honeybees are not easily controlled. And swarming, okay, swarming, that is the mass movement of these honeybees, cannot be prevented. Okay, and I told during the extraction of the honey, there will be a lots of mixing of the dust, then the damaged tissues of the larvae, then the pollen grains and other materials are there in the honey. So that's why the honey is not pure also. Okay, then storage is also not much proper in this type of beekeeping method, and during this extraction many of the bees are killed, okay, many of the bees are killed, and in this method also there is no chances of improving the races of the honeybees here. Okay, so this is what about the primitive type or the traditional type of or indigenous type of beekeeping. In the indigenous type of beekeeping, we have studied immovable, wall type, is it clear, movable, and then bamboo type. Is it clear? Movable, see here, that is immovable walled hive construction only. They will make the chamber, outside a small slit, inside a large opening, so that they can enter into the small slit and they can build a hive inside the wall, that is the at the larger places. Is it clear? Then the immovable, movable is what? It can be made in the bags, wooden boxes, earthen pots, etc. It is kept, and then we have to wait for the honeybees to come and build the hives. Then it is not so satisfactory because the honey is not pure also, and it is not stored properly also. Is it clear? So that's what it will be of having very less satisfactory. Now